What's up, everybody? JB here. Welcome to the very first episode of the AEG Cast, Average Everyday Gaming Podcast. I'm here with Dalton.
How you doing?
Gus, and whether he wants to be called it or not, White Sun.
Hey guys, what's up? How's everyone doing?
We just use our real names, and you're still just White Sun.
Yep. I know. Not much I can do about it. You know, I am the son of your life, the white son of your life.
I could make a joke, but I'm going to refrain from that.
No, don't. Please don't refrain.
Please, go on ahead. Make my day.
But basically what we're going to discuss, I think we pretty much talked about it ahead of time, Destiny 2.
Yeah. I think
what's going on? Yeah, go ahead.
A lot of people have heard a lot of negative things about it, and they've already talked about it on a lot of other YouTube channels. So I guess we don't really need to go into it too bad. We don't really need to blast them, I should say.
Yeah, but I mean, it started out, everything was very promising from the start. With the base game, we all just busted our asses playing as much as we possibly could, whenever we possibly could. And then, it felt like once we all got to the end game, the fucking bottom dropped out.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't even know where to start. What is truly the problem here? Is it Bungie trying to lean too much into making everybody happy, but at the same time making no one happy? Or is it the fans are expecting too much now? Because there's a lot of people that are just like, well, you should do this, and you should do that, and you should do this. And, as much as he tries to list them, they're being pulled in, 8 different directions.
Yeah. I think there's a subset of the community that Bungie will never be able to make happy. I mean, these are the folks that made Halo, right? So the expectations were always big for the first Destiny and Destiny 2 and Destiny 3 and 4, right, for the duration of the contract that they have with Activision. But I think you hit the nail on the head when you mentioned that they're trying to make everyone happy, and by trying to make everyone happy, they've made nobody happy.
Yeah,
I think that's all
hardcore fans.
Yes,
exactly. And the hardcore fans were the ones that propped them up during their hard time.
Yeah,
right? When people left,
when Destiny 1 came out, and nobody knew really, they didn't even know what they were doing. With a lot of the base parts of the game, with how the currencies worked, and everybody was trying to figure out how everything was worked. And then for a year, we got lackluster content updates with The Dark Below and The House of Wolves. And then finally they rectified themselves when Taken King came out. Mm-hmm. Everybody was like, holy shit, this is what I've wanted. This is what I've wanted a year ago. And they finally started moving in the right direction. And then we had a couple events, and then Rise of Iron, and now Destiny 2.
I'll tell you this.
Destiny 1, sorry, Martin, but Destiny 1 up until the Taken King felt like a beta. And then when we got the Taken King, we were like, oh, wow, we had been playing a beta all along. This is what the game should have been at launch.
Right.
Let me tell you something. What really annoyed me about this whole situation is this. So, like Gustavo was saying, is that Destiny 1 vanilla, Dark Below, House of Wolves, it felt like a beta. It felt like we were just test driving this game that was not ready yet. Taken King comes out. You're like, holy shit, this is actually what we wanted to play the entire freaking time. Rise of Iron comes out. You're like, great. Now this is we can enjoy Destiny 2 in this great game that we can enjoy for the next 2 or 3 years. What happens with Destiny 2? They drop the ball. They go back. They scratch it. They start everything from scratch with new system that barely works half of the time. And it just felt like all this 3 years that we passed through playing this wonderful game, because the lore and the universe is awesome, but the problem with this is that it felt like the things that we did for the past 3 years were nullified, and we're starting from scratch all over again.
Which is fine. That part didn't bother me. It's even like you guys. I have to agree with you guys when you say the year 1 felt like a beta, because vanilla Destiny for the first 3 months before the Dark Below came out was kind of bare. Obviously, base game, but
yeah.
When the Dark Below came out, there was 2 days we could run every week on all 3 characters. And I don't know about you guys, but I did that. Every week on all 3 characters, ran both raids. We got all the exotic chests and all that stuff, and I had a lot of fun in year 1. I mean, it wasn't the true game it was supposed to be when it launched, but once year 2 hit, it was, like you guys said, they definitely saved it and brought a lot of other fans in.
Yeah, I think the problem now with Destiny 2 is the fact that it's called Destiny 2. The way I look at it, what I mean by that is it started as, honestly, they should not have like come out with a numbered sequel, because it felt like you guys were saying a fresh restart. And again, that is okay, but do something like it's supposed to be an MMO. Essentially, that's what they're going with. It's supposed to be a loot grindy MMO.
They refuse to call it that.
They
Yeah,
do,
which is
even though
annoying
that's
as hell.
Call it
exactly
an
like,
open world shooter because they don't want the expectations that an MMO brings, which is continuous content, which they're not able to deliver. Obviously, with Destiny 1 and now 2.
But at the same time, you have something like one of the, or probably the largest MMO ever, World of Warcraft. Go with that formula. They don't do, I mean, yes, they do patches with like little like tweaks and stuff like that, and raids and extra stock content, but they can still keep that afloat and only put out like a new major expansion every couple of years. That's what they've been doing anyway. I don't see why it's that big of a deal.
I disagree a little bit because the economics of how World of Warcraft worked back in the day before it went free to play and the economics of how Destiny works are completely different. So World of Warcraft was a subscription-based game, right? It had millions of players paying a monthly fee, which is what paid off the content that the creators made. Destiny 2 doesn't have that, right? So they have microtransactions, which is another topic we're going to get into.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're dancing around it, but...
Yeah. But like, they can't create the content on time. And I don't know if anyone of you read Jason Schreier from Kotaku. He wrote that great piece about a year and a half ago about how Destiny 1 came to be and how the tools that the developers used to create the game were like a hindrance. Like, for example, like if they created some assets or something, it would take like 24 hours or 12 hours to compile. Yeah. And just the act of creating content itself was painful because it was so physically create the content as a game developer. So I think that's one thing that hindered them. I sort of want to disagree with Dalton on the fact that Destiny didn't feel like a beta. Like, I totally agree with you, Dalton. Like, I ran Vault of Glass and Crozen back to back for weeks. And that was fun. It was great. It was awesome. But the quality of life changes that they made for Taken King. Oh, God. Like think about it. Like, I don't want to hog the whole podcast, but think about it. When The Dark Below came out, they punished the most hardcore players because if you had all the exotics or the majority of all the exotics, they would make you re-level them again. And I'm like, what is that? Like, what are you folks thinking?
Oh, yeah, I definitely agree with you that the Taken King was the turning point. There's no denying that the Taken King was the best part of Destiny 1 or 2.
Absolutely.
Year 2 Destiny is best, by far.
Yeah.
The only thing that would have made it perfect is if they would have brought the raids up to being relevant right away.
Yeah, as opposed to just waiting for another year for that.
And then one of the things about Destiny 2, which I think we're all upset about, and maybe we haven't been able to just slip there, but I'm going to try to do it right now, is that Destiny 2 is a numbered sequel, but it doesn't feel
like a sequel.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's a continuation of Destiny 1 Year 3.
That's exactly what I was trying to get at when I was saying.
Yeah. It feels like it feels like a sequel. What it feels like, it's just like, I don't mind starting all over again from scratch. What I meant was, it felt like all the mistakes that they fixed throughout year 1, year 3, they just completely forgot about it, and it's like, hey, let's start doing something else. And it's like, what the hell are you guys doing, man?
Yeah.
There's also like another point too that I like to mention. Like, I get super nerdy about when it comes to development, but the team that was responsible, they're called the Live team, that was responsible for the changes during the lifetime of Destiny Year 1 wasn't the team responsible for developing Destiny 2. So it was two completely different teams on two separate paths. And that's evident in the game that we're playing today with Destiny 2.
Yeah, that's definitely. Like, for example, let me give you my biggest gripe with Destiny 2 right now. And it comes with Iron Banner. Now, with Iron Banner, every single time you finish a match, regardless if the loot drop was great or not, you could expect something to drop after the match. That deal with Iron Banner, okay? With this whole token system, yeah, sure, you can, relatively, or, get everything that you're looking for, or get nothing. When Destiny 1, when you play Iron Banner, you could the finish line. You could see that at the end of the week, once you hit rank 5, you could grab all the things that you needed to grab from that specific week, and you were done. With Destiny 2, you could play Iron Banner for months. Look at the helmet. You could play Iron Banner for months, and never get the entire full set of gear.
Yeah, I mean, I have a buddy that played Iron Banner in Destiny 2. He played it literally 3 hours a day for the entire week that Iron Banner was available, and got every piece of armor except one.
In Destiny 2?
Yeah.
That's impressive, because I feel like when I played Iron Banner, I didn't get shit.
I'll be honest, I didn't play Iron Banner at all. Like, the token system completely just put me away. I'm like, why can't I decide, I'm grinding, I'm putting in all this work, right? Why can't I decide what I want to get as a prize? I get RNG is a thing, I know how it works, but like compared to Destiny 1, it just felt completely different. Like Destiny 1, you're like, all right, I'm going to sell, Lord Saladin have this for the week, and this is what I'm going to sell in between, rank 3 and 5 and 1, you may get these drops, right? But none of that exists in Destiny 2. They just took that all away.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
the biggest problem that I keep finding is that they are just they're not learning from what they had previously done. The concepts and the things behind Destiny 1 were working.
Right.
Why change it? Like, in terms of changing it, try to fit what you're doing across the board. If Iron Banner for Destiny 1 was working, why bring it into something different just to fit what you were doing? I think this is going to sound like really, really conceited of me, but I feel like Destiny 2 is catering too much to the casual fans.
No, I agree with you completely, and I don't think you come off conceited at all. I think you're being genuine about the way you feel. Right, Mark?
Look, there's a fine line between too much grind and no grind, and I think for a lot of us, what we enjoy a lot about Destiny 1 wasn't that the grind system, while annoying at times, because RNG, it's a cruel mistress half the time, and she cares not for the wins of men.
She didn't give me a fucking Gallahorn until year 2, and it was useless.
Man, I feel for you, bro.
I never got a Gallahorn until I got the Iron Gallahorn from
got it in September when the game launched.
Fuck you, man.
Screw you.
Did you get it from Zero the first week?
No,
I
got it.
Oh, okay.
No, I got it as a drop in Crucible.
Jesus.
Oh, God, even worse. I got it from Trial of Osiris. That's how I got mine. Let's put it this. There was an incentive to go out and do the raid every week because that exotics were not dropping. They weren't dropped easily. You had to put in the time. You had to put in the grind to get them. Mm-hmm. And with Destiny 2, there's no incentive for me to do any strikes. There's no incentive to me go and do out the raid half of the time, because half of the time the weapons that I get are all the same.
Yep.
The weapon that you can get from the game has the perks already pre-installed into that weapon, so there's no point in me to go get something different.
That's why tomorrow you can just work on those masterwork weapons and just keep re-rolling until you get the one you want.
Yeah, do like 80 public events a day.
And that's one of the fading things about Destiny 2, because like compared to Destiny 1, right, you had strike specific loot. You had things like the Vex Mytho class, which was an exotic that only dropped at a certain raid, right? Like you don't have that in Destiny 2. But if you look at Destiny 2, when I first saw it, I'm like, great, we're gonna have a raid, we're gonna have strikes, and then I thought about these lost sectors. I'm like, oh wow, little mini dungeons. That's awesome. Imagine if they had
nothing. They take you 5 minutes to do.
Absolutely. And I'm like, what if they had like strike-specific armor or gear for these lost sectors? Nope, they don't have that.
I honestly, I've put probably 50, 60 hours into Destiny 2. I have done maybe a total of 3 strikes.
Yeah.
In Destiny 1, all I did was strikes. I did the strike
rock
playlist
strikes,
and just would
dragon strikes.
Yeah. Because there was reasoning, but like they finally added heroic strikes in Curse of Osiris,
which I think we should talk about. Curse of Osiris a little bit too, though, just the expansion separate from the actual.
Yeah, we'll definitely. Yeah, I mean, we've kind of. I mean, as like Dalton was saying, everybody on the internet's kind of beating a dead horse with Destiny 2 is disappointing, but it's one of those things where it's hard to not be, I've spent almost 4 years, 3.5 years of my life
over
playing this game.
Hours in the first game.
Yeah, I was gonna say I put hundreds of hours into Destiny 1, and what made me realize that the system was broken is with Destiny 2. I played a few hours a week for the first 2 months of its launch. I played like all nonstop for the first 2 weeks. But after that, I would play a few hours a week. I would do my milestones on Tuesday when it reset, and then I'd be done for a week, and I still got to max level. Yep. Now, there's a problem with that.
Never did.
There's a problem with that. Absolutely.
I never finished the raid, and I got to max level in that game.
And that's going back to appeasing the casuals. And I know, some folks don't like that word casuals, but it's the truth. By appeasing to them, they've just scared off the hardcore players. Like, there's nothing for us to do anymore.
Yeah, the end game. That's the crux of the problem that we're getting. The end game sucks.
Yeah,
I get flat out. It sucks.
And you hear many YouTubers.
It's.
But I don't think that's a shot at Destiny. That was just me not liking the direction they took the raid.
I just because you were saying that like you loved the first raid or the first few raids were, yes, there were puzzles and they were gameplay driven, but they were also something unique and different. Like this, they kind of went too much in that direction where you had to.
It's all mechanic.
It's all mechanics driven. It's all you have to do this thing way, and that's the only way you can do it. How many times when we were playing the raids in Destiny 1 did we stumble through something because we were just like, oh fuck it, let's just go, just do it this way.
Exactly.
There was no excitement. Yeah. There was no fun to like when we ran the raid as a group. It was rough. Like it was like just kind of like, okay, this is cool, but it's not really like getting me excited or anything like that.
All right. Let me just put you in perspective things, okay? So you can see how much my problems with Destiny 2 are. In Destiny 1, I have accumulated 1,855 hours of real-time gameplay. This is not just me sitting in the tower just sitting around. No, this is me because
maybe 6.
That tells you that this is not that you say, it's if somebody that plays week in, week out and enjoy the game. It's not about, and I don't care about if the game's repetitive or not. That's not my problem. It's not the crux here. The crux here is the fact that even if the game is repetitive and it's enjoyable, you'll still go back and play it. If the game is repetitive and it's annoying as hell to do, you're not going to want to play it. Yeah. Simple as that.
Not a carrot. They don't have a carrot egg for us to chase anymore. And the frustrating thing is, and I hope I can pivot the conversation to microtransactions, is that they do have lots. They have lots of content that I would love to chase in mines for, but it's locked behind this bright paywall.
All right, let's use that as a turning point. Let's talk about Curse of Osiris.
Because we can talk about microtransactions.
We can kind of because Curse of Osiris is kind of what made microtransactions for Destiny 2. Basically, it shined a giant spotlight on, hey, they're trying to just make you pay real money to get the loot that you could just grind for normally. And yes, you can grind for it, but it'll take you fucking forever.
Yeah, when they're not throttling your XP.
When they're not throttling the XP.
That experience, like son of a gun.
They think they're Verizon and Comcast trying to throttle my internet.
Freaking Comcast. This is the thing. Like, look at this. There's great and beautiful ornaments. Great and beautiful ghosts. Sparrows, armor,
some of the content that
some of the things that should be in the freaking game. Like, look, like the ornaments, you can put them in freaking the first thing that annoys me. There's no incentive to do the raid because there's nothing in the raid. There's no sparrows. There's no exclusive exotics in the raid. There's no ornament that you can exclusively from that raid, except for Levacrius. But even then, Levacrius is like one. Yeah. It's like. Here's the thing, that at least in Destiny 1, the stuff that you get from Eververse was just cosmetic. It wasn't like, hey, it's just a mask that you may not use. But it didn't literally affect the way that the game was played. Now it's like, here's exotic emotes that you cannot get, through regular means. Here's some exotic.
I'm fine with cosmetic stuff being locked behind a microtransaction wall because, Overwatch is one of the most popular games in the world right now, and it's continuing to... People are just dropping money on loot boxes so they can get a different character skin for their character. That's fine. Content that I paid $20 for...
That's the thing.
Is locked behind a paywall, and I can still spend more money to get that stuff faster... That's where I take
it's not even guaranteed. It's a chance.
Exactly. You're not guaranteed to get it. I could drop $50 in, microtransactions and loot boxes on Destiny 2, but I still may not get what I want.
Mm-hmm. And that's because the thing, and that's just the thing that annoys me because it's not the fact it's you're putting a carrot in front of unsuspecting people that think they're going to get the stuff that they want, and they may end up spending 50, 100, 200 bucks,
It's predatory,
bucks,
I think.
and you never get it. I know a friend of mine, Andrew, and Gustavo will know vouch for me, is that he spent about $75 to get a specific emote. He never got
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in the first Destiny, it was. I mean, they had the same thing. Like, you could still buy silver, you could still get boxes. But like when they did like the Dawning and stuff like that, and I will admit, I spent $30 to get the Dawning armor, and I'm probably gonna do the same fucking thing this year. I don't know. I might stop myself just basically because I've been bashing it, and I don't want to like sound like a hypocrite. But
Take his controller away, dog. Take it away.
Yeah, no
Take
shit.
it away.
Now, Goose, you had a chance to play the Stat 4 Curse of Osiris, or are you still...
I finished
No,
it.
no, he
yeah,
finished
'cause we
it.
got through most. We got
Wait,
through most of it with Goose the other night.
No, this is a different Goose.
Different Goose. Why are there two Gooses?
There's two Gooses.
Damn it!
What did you
just think
think
about
of the
this. There's
story?
one. Just good like this. You got Goose, and you got Ganso Siete. That's all you do. That's all you have to worry about. Okay, that's all you have to worry about.
Okay.
All
Sure.
right, sounds good.
Sounds fantastic.
Yeah, what did you think of the story
Like
for
a single
Curse of Osiris?
What I think about it, I thought it was short.
Yeah.
I thought it was contrite. I was expecting Osiris, like the way they prop him up, they hype him up in the trailers, like the Zavala before Zavala, and I was disappointed. But I was disappointed not in the gameplay. I was disappointed more in the narrative, especially as somebody who names a warlock. I'm like, oh wow, like a warlock is like the baddest ass guardian of all time, and I didn't feel like it was. I fought alongside him. And I'm like, all right, it was same mechanics.
The problem that I had was he was literally in the opening and the closing scene of the game or the story, and the coolest part about it was Sagira, and so she just took over. She took over your ghost, and
I'll tell you,
it was
like a super geek side of me appreciated the fact that the voice actor for Osiris was the actor who played one of the Magi, the lead Magi in 1999, the Mummy film with Brendan Fraser.
Really?
So that
yeah.
That's
kind of
pretty
cool.
awesome, actually. I didn't realize it. I knew that the voice of the ghost was one of the actresses from Firefly, which everybody was super stoked about that.
My main gripe with the whole storyline is the fact, and I think Gustavo, touched upon it, was that for me, it felt like I didn't fight with Osiris. I fought with a simulation of Osiris. Basically, it felt like it's like multiple instances of what Osiris could have been, but it just felt like a ghost. It didn't feel like this badass guardian is helping me fight this guy side to side. No, it just felt like
You had to go in there and save his punk ass.
Yeah. This is really geeky, but if anybody's seen, I'm going to reference the third Batman film, the third Nolan film, The Dark Knight Rises. Like the way they hyped him up was like, oh, he was so bad. He was like this rogue character that we had to like excommunicate him. The way like the League of Shadows excommunicated Bane, right?
Right.
So I'm expecting this bigger than life character, and he's a chump. I'm like, this old fart? Who's this guy?
Yeah, it's like all the Vex are about to destroy the world and destroy the universe basically, and nope, we got to save his punk ass.
Yeah.
He can't do it himself. We gotta get in there and fix it.
From Iron Man 2, the fake Mandarin.
Oh, Lord.
Exactly. It was honestly a little bit like the.
I think Osiris embellished his own story. I think Korra talked about
Yeah, embellish it. I think Bungie embellished it.
I
Okay.
think Korra is a little dramatic now.
Yeah.
It's just like
And more than the story, I'm so far disappointed in the content that the $20 Curse of Osiris PC gets the best player. Like the story is fine. It's 2 hours. It does what it's supposed to do. It's like, hey, we're going to introduce you into these new game mechanics, and you're going to build.
Beautiful too.
Yeah, I mean it's beautiful, and they did the upgrade for the PS4 Pro where it made it turned it into 4K, and they
See, but the thing, as a PS4 Pro owner and an owner of a 4K TV, I'm so upset with Bungie with the way they've dealt with PS4 Pro. So just to recap real quick, when it first launched, the game kept crashing on PS4 Pro only.
Yep.
And then the new update that came out just this past Tuesday, it doesn't add it adds HDR on Scorpio, base PS4, Xbox One S, but guess what system it doesn't work on? PS4 Pro. I'm like, really don't?
Yeah, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, that doesn't make
that's
any
a no.
I honestly didn't know that. Jesus Christ.
It's the second most powerful console.
It gets fucked every single time. Let me put it this way. I think the most thing that I got, and while I had my problems with the Cars of Osiris storyline and the way that they did some of the things, and they had some beautiful render scenes that I'm like, wow, blown away. But the thing the thing that got me and like really made me get me pissed was the fact that when they said they were going to go into this infinite forest, I'm thinking, oh shit, it's going to be different missions where the vets are involved.
The way
and it's going to be like,
sounded was literally Diablo's Rift concept.
Thank you.
Where it's repeatable things. You can get unique loot. You can do unique things every time. The missions are going to change. You're going to have like crazy different modifiers and stuff like that. Kind of similar to how what was it? Bungie did. What's the mode in Halo where it was like the Horde mode, but I can't think of what it's called. Firefight. It kind of sounded like that, but for Destiny. I'm like, holy shit! Like that's a fucking brilliant.
Nope.
Like
They made one thing.
I thought of the same thing too.
Repeat it 50 fucking times, and then called it an expansion and charged you 20.
I agree with you, Jeff, as well. I thought it was going to be like Firefight / Prison of Elders type content, and it was anything but.
Let me put it this. They could have this. They could have done this. They could have, let's say, it's a simulation, right? It's a Vex simulated areas. They could have put missions that we did back in Destiny 1, but they have the Vex involved. For example, instead of dealing with Crota's crystal, now we're dealing with the Vex stealing it, and we're trying to get him back.
That would have been really fucking cool.
Things like that. Missions where we are going, like for example, like the Battle of Twilight Gap. Things back in time where we actually see, Zavala when he was just starting out as a Guardian. K6, how did he became K6? Things like that.
Yeah, because I think
we get a hallway, a door, killing a boss, moving to the next hallway, killing a boss, moving to the next doorway, and you're done.
I think we've hammered on Destiny for quite a bit. Maybe just the four of us, can pick out one thing they've liked about the Curse of Osiris thus far. Like for me, so far, it's that raid layer. It's short, but again,
I have
it's like the best.
Is it? Do you need to? It's like it's designed like essentially a mini raid, isn't it?
It is a mini raid. I think that's exactly what it is. It's a short raid. It took us about 2 hours to get to the end boss. We haven't beat him yet. The puzzles were real fun. The environments are great to look at. It's enjoyable. Yeah, it's what Destiny does best. You put 6 players in a room and be like, here, just solve the puzzle.
Have a blast.
Maybe we'll as a group for AEG go ahead and run that, stream it and see. We'll either stream it on YouTube or Twitch or something.
Funny thing about it, so we're talking about the raid layer, is that we go in there thinking, you know what, we need 6 guys. So we go to the forums, we look up we pick up some random guy from the forums.
Talk about that little Australian emperor?
And it turns out to be a little Australian 9-year-old kid. And we're thinking, okay, all right, let's do this. And the minute he gets in, he takes over. So we're dealing a raid layer with a 9-year-old kid telling us, come on guys, let's do it, stop dying, fuck you, stop dying, come on. Like, what the?
But all Crocodile Dundee like, yeah, I got you.
What the hell? And so that just like turned up the fun level even more, because now we're all in the group chat, we're like, okay, what the hell's going on?
Well, at least you guys had a positive. I have not had a chance to play the layer yet. I've played some of the new strikes, which I liked. I think I ran the heroic strikes. It's nice that they finally brought those back in. I mean, there's really no incentive to doing them other than your 3 weekly to get your powerful gear, but it was nice to see those brought back, because I spent a lot of time in Destiny 1 running heroic strikes.
Yep.
It was cool to see that back.
And I don't want to be at that horse here with Destiny 2. Is that? No, I'm saying that I don't want to be at that horse. Destiny 2. It has some problems. We know that.
It's got a lot of problems.
And we don't know if when they fix them, we'll care enough about them.
Yeah, I think I'm going to see if it's too late.
Yeah, I'm praying
But
that we come back in another 6 months or so
when the second
expansion drops and be like, well, we were wrong. What the fuck? Like,
that
that's
article I wrote. I was pretty angry when I wrote that.
yeah, you were.
For those of you who haven't seen it, it's on our Twitter. I kind of wrote a pissy ass article after playing through the story and the adventures. The adventures is where I got pissed off.
Well, the adventures were just literally the same thing.
Yeah,
we
you're
were
running
doing
the
in
same
story
shit over and over
missions.
again.
Yeah,
and they already have my money. I'm going to play this new expansion whenever it comes out, and I don't want to give up on the game just yet. I've been playing for 3.5 years now, and it's been one of my most consistent games ever that I've ever had.
I was in terms of one single game, other than me being a fan of the wrestling games and playing those every year. Other than
Can we please get a Here Comes the Pain remaster? Come on, Here Comes the Pain remaster, the best one ever.
Dude, if there was a Here Comes the Pain remaster, I would shit my pants. I'd be so excited. Not even. I will be.
Oh Lord,
I'm going on record for that one.
dude, man, I haven't played Here Comes the Pain in years.
But no, Destiny has been my most consistent. I play every single time that there's new content for it.
Fuck, I have a tattoo of the Hunter logo tattooed on my inner bicep.
Right, that doesn't tell you how much dedication you have to this game, this franchise. I don't know what the fuck does.
I also have the Eject logo from Final Fantasy X, which is
dude, it's awesome.
That's the Prince of Persia chain blade.
That's why I hate Ubisoft, because they don't make Prince of Persia games anymore.
No, it's all Assassin's Creed,
fun
buddy.
fact, that new Assassin's Creed Origins game actually started out as a Prince of Persia game.
It did, actually.
Did it?
Yeah.
Assassin's
Creed Origin was literally, it started out as,
no shit.
Yeah, so you should play Origins, man. It's good.
Cool.
I've played
You'll enjoy it.
I like the Assassin's Creed games. I'm just salty and bitter that they made those every year and then never bothered to make another Prince of Persia game.
Right.
Dude.
See, but the thing was, they made Prince. Oh God, we're going on. We're going on.
Yeah, we are. Hey, that's what we're all about, man. This is why I love these things. All right, go ahead.
They made Prince of Persia 2008, which was that cell-shaded game.
Fucking awesome.
That was an awesome game. I love that awesome game. It undersold.
It was an epilogue.
Undersold.
Stupid Prince of Persia fans, not faithful. It undersold horribly. It didn't make Ubisoft any money. And then they went back to that. I didn't play the other one, and then they didn't make any more Prince of Persia games. But that Prince of Persia game 2008 with Elika.
Oh my god!
The story was amazing.
Yeah, it was so good. The music and the art style. Oh god, the game.
Yeah,
I was just whispering to Dalton. I'm like, man, I'd play a fucking HD remaster of that one.
Me too.
Dude, man. That was a beautiful game, man.
Yeah, the PS.
That was so much beautiful.
Honestly,
game,
I know most people didn't like Warrior Within, but Warrior Within was my favorite.
Warrior Within was amazing.
Yes.
But yeah, we
Godsmack just
sound. We can talk about that. I could talk about that all day. I've played the shit out of those.
Fucking love those games.
But
so, question, Dalton.
Yeah.
Considering it, since we're talking about different games, what do you thought about Nier Automata? What?
Dude,
all right. Okay.
Yeah,
all right. Hold on. Let's put a pin in that. Okay. So let's wrap up Destiny 2 real quick. So all in all, we're disappointed as shit. We hope Bungie gets better at it. We'll see what happens. I'm going to play this week because I want to see what these...
Bungie, we're not giving up on you.
Yeah, we're not. I'm not saying... We're disappointed, but I'm still going to...
You're like our child. We're disappointed in you.
But the window's closing, Bungie. You know that the window is closing.
It is. Yes. As much as I am, I'm still loving it. Yeah, I'm losing patience.
The love is not unconditional. There are conditions involved. And
there are conditions involved, and it involves you doing your job correctly and me not paying
Don't fuck it
more
up.
money for your bullshit. Here is a contract.
We'll come back to Destiny. Next week on the podcast, we'll
talk about the new update. That's coming out tomorrow.
The new update comes out tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes.
We'll see how that goes for us.
Anyway, let's
all right. Let's kind of pivot to. I know we were talking a little bit before we started recording about our Game of the Year stuff.
Yes. Let's talk about the game.
Let's talk about Dalton's true Game of the Year first.
Come on.
I'm gonna turn the mic. It's all you. This is all
Spit it out.
All you Zelda fanboys, I apologize. I loved Breath of the Wild. I really did. I played it on the Switch back in, I think, June. I want to say it was June. And I absolutely loved it. The game was amazing. Gameplay, it was fun. Didn't really do anything new. Didn't really bring anything new to the table.
But
something like that. It was pretty...
I disagree entirely with that. I'm going to battle you back on that.
You think? What about the combat? There was nothing new in the combat. The cooking system was kind of basic. It was fun. A lot of fun, but I don't think
It felt Dark Soulsy. It was difficult in a way that other Zelda games
I'm
at
not
least
saying it was
had
difficult,
been before.
but it.
In the open world, I mean, it just you can climb anything, everything. You could, like,
Yeah, you can climb the side of mountains.
That's
until
what
you
I
run out of
actually like.
stamina.
There's a lot of
the big compliment
games.
I can pay Breath of the Wild is the following.
Yes.
It was basically like a big blank canvas.
Yes.
And once you had all your powers, you could literally go about conquering a dungeon or wrecking shop, exactly, however you saw fit, as long as you had the creativity to do it.
Yep.
And
Because,
that's my
like,
thing.
this-
I don't want people
Right.
to think I'm talking shit about Breath of the Wild. I really did love the game.
Yeah, I mean it is my personal game of
It
the
is.
It's
Yeah.
It's just
mine.
that there's something that you
Awesome.
prefer more than Breath of the Wild, especially
Yes.
what you're saying.
No,
year. Dalton,
there's
what do you prefer more than Breath of the Wild?
Nier Automata. That
Tell us why. Tell us
was
why.
That's
the
why.
best. Like combat wise, it was so fucking awesome, man. You had your
Platinum games.
if you didn't play on if you didn't play on easy with your auto chips on, which you can do, by the way, you can turn auto chips on and it'll just do everything for you.
Well, I know how I'm playing the game. I'll be the first to admit I play most of my shit on easy. It's in the description of our channel for a
But
fucking reason.
even if you play it on easy, you can turn your auto chips off.
Yeah.
And
Oh, Lord.
auto evade for you and all that stuff. But if you don't play it like that, the combat is so much fun. You have to control your pod and your character. The pod is basically your gun, which you can just kind of hold that down the whole time. And then story-wise, this is what I felt has been missing from games for years. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, exception of like The Last of Us and stuff like that. There's been some great stories, but
The sprinkles here and there.
yeah,
basically.
Nier Automata. When I was playing my PS2 almost, and
Wow.
Okay, I'll give like.
And I haven't felt that way.
That's the highest fucking praise
That's high
you can
praise.
give
Yeah,
right
that's
now.
high praise.
That's how you
Because,
place, mate.
you know,
brought me
there's a
back to my
reason,
childhood.
like-
That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah, I was gonna go on a tangent again here, but there's a reason. All these HD remasters that are coming out,
I love
there's a fucking reason that the majority of them are PS2 games because that system had the deepest and best fucking library of stuff.
I feel like
It
we've
better
lost
had it
the
sold like
single-player
150 million
story.
consoles.
There's still a lot of single player games. Now the developers build these giant, robust open worlds and expect you to do all the work and kind of crafting your own stories and stuff
Which is
like that.
fine, and
Which
I'll-
fine, agreed. But
The stories aren't very deep on them.
I've been playing not like a direct comparison, but I've been playing the Jak and Daxter remasters on PS4, and those are some of my favorite games ever because they built a world, but they also made an interesting story and interesting, environments and actual did character development.
Yeah.
I think more that
That's-
we don't
that's
get.
what
It's not
Naughty
that we don't
Dog
get a
goes
good
for, man.
story anymore because there are plenty of good stories, but we don't
Yeah.
get these deep, believable characters. And the only thing, I haven't played Nier yet, so I actually am borrowing Dalton's copy so I can play it. But the only other thing that's come close in terms of a deep character this year is Wolfenstein. Whoever thought that BJ Blazkowicz, when I first started playing the franchise, whoever thought that he would be an actual deep, believable character, he was a fucking a Marine, shaved head Marine that just wanted to fucking everything, and now it's like he's one of the deepest and most interesting characters of this.
Just do you want to.
For all
20
intents and purposes, he was like a Doom Marine. He was
Right.
just like kill folks and that's it.
Right.
Yep.
And now
It was
he's
a
one of my
one-dimensional
most
character.
beloved characters.
When you do think when you get people that know,
I have not felt that way.
What's
about
up?
a game since, like I said, probably the older Final Fantasy games.
What's up, White Sun?
when you get a group of people that love a franchise and they have a good direction when it comes to storyline and making fleshed out characters, when you can make a person that has never seen the horrors of war, can never seen lost somebody in life, make them empathize with that character in a video game. Not a movie, not a book, in a video game that people say, it's not really like a media for art stuff like that. But if you can make a person look at that and go, wow, you hit the nail on the head. And that's what we need right now. Fleshed out characters that just make you go into the world and it's so, holy cow.
Other than, honestly, Naughty Dog
does that pretty well.
they are
Naughty
the
Dog
only
focuses
other
on
ones
narrative.
to really Joel and Ellie from Last of Us and Nathan Drake.
As somebody who grew up playing the Uncharted series, like Uncharted blew up after Uncharted 2. right? When Uncharted 2 came out, that's when it
Yeah,
blew
like
up. And I always
Uncharted
felt
1, like I remember like the year that game came out, like that's all I fucking wanted for Christmas. I told my parents,
Yeah,
I'm like,
2007.
that is all I want. That's the only game that I want. And then I had beaten it. I played all day Christmas Day, and it wasn't a very long game. So I finished it
about
in
8-10 hours
2 or
short
3
game. Yeah.
yeah, 2 or 3 sittings.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being done with it, and I'm like, so that game that you bought me, Mom, Dad, I just finished it. And they're just like, what? I'm like, I don't care. It was the best 8 hours of my life. Like,
It was an
it was
awesome
so
game.
fucking good.
Let me tell
One
you
of the
a bit
coolest
about-
things about the first one, just real quick, I remember this was back in the PS3 days. It was like late 2007. Was I don't know if you remember, Jeff, but when you'd soak Nate in water and
Yes.
you'd see him wet,
Yes.
like you'd never seen that before. I'm like, that is fucking awesome.
The tech behind the tech behind all the Uncharted games. I mean, Uncharted 4 is like still one of the prettiest fucking games.
The step from
Yeah.
1 to 2, though, like I thought 1 looked
Holy cow!
It was
1 to 2 was so fucking amazing.
Yeah, because 2 came out when I was in college, and my roommate at the time was not a video game whatsoever, and I would be playing Uncharted 2, and he actually like sat on the couch next to me and watched me play. He's like, it's just so interesting. It's so like it's actually these are characters. This is essentially an interactive movie that you're
Absolutely.
playing, and we're on a
I
very
knew-
large tangent.
You had
Yeah, we
you had characters like Nate, you had characters like Tenzin in Uncharted 2, was that Tibetan guy who helped him out.
Yep.
Yep.
When Jeff the cameraman passes away, I was like, oh, Jeff, damn it, he got shot. Spoilers, guys. Sorry, this game came out about almost close to 8 years ago.
Yesterday, if you haven't played it by now, fuck you. No, I'm kidding.
Sorry.
No, if you haven't played Uncharted, any of the Uncharted games by now, well, not much we can help you out.
Yeah.
Okay.
When Flint kills himself with the grenade and it hurts not Chloe. Oh my God, Drake's wife.
Elena.
Elena. When he
Elena.
hurts Elena, I'm like, please, Elena, don't die. Like, you are invested in these characters as people. And trying to pivot back to Wolfenstein 2, I haven't beat it yet, but I played the first one and I played the expansion to it, the Old Blood. Yeah, and Machine Games is just doing a great job narratively with these games. And
Yeah, I was
absolutely, like
gonna
Jeff
say,
said, like, I think that BJ would be like this, narrative-driven character in 2017. Like, I would never thought of that.
Right.
Let me put it this way. When I first played Last of Us, and this is why I'm so happy about seeing Last of Us 2, when I first played The Last of Us, I was expecting Joel and Ellie, just, I was expecting their storyline, but I wasn't expecting the first 10 minutes of that game. That beginning
It's still,
of
like-
The Last of Us, I'm sitting there with my controller shaking, I'm just looking at Joel's
like,
daughter die
When I
in his hands.
Even
I'm
when
like,
I played the remaster, I still
shit.
got choked up.
I played The Last
oh,
of
dude.
Us in one sitting.
Like, no.
When it came out. I sat
Wow.
down. and
I was like,
played it.
man.
Have you not played
Like,
that up? Or
No,
that-
I played it on PS3 when
Okay.
it first came out.
All right.
When the
Those
remaster came
first
out,
10 minutes of the game set the tone for what the game was going to be like.
The
It was
thing I
for
remember
me.
most about The Last of Us, I never played it on PS3 because I had a little bit of a gaming hiatus from 09 to 20 every time you play many games. When I jumped back and played the remaster, one of the things I remember distinctively about The Last of Us was just how oppressive it made me feel when dealing with I forgot the name of I forget the name of the enemies. But the infected or whatever they're called.
Yeah,
When you go into a dark room and you use
Clickers.
and we got the
clickers,
fireflies,
yeah.
which were kind of
Oh, the clickers, my God.
clickers, yeah.
Scary as hell, man.
and I think you would depress R3 in order to like use a super hearing sense and just be dark and you can just hear them walking around and have a headset on. I'm like, God, I feel
Yeah,
so
the sound
uncomfortable.
design. It just, ugh.
And now we
Dude,
got The Last of Us too.
I was
remember-
gonna say that if like, because what's interesting about Last of Us 2 is because they said like the way the director described it is The Last of Us 1 was a game about love.
This one's
And
the
apparently this is supposed to be a game
About
about
hate.
hate. So it's going to be like the Empire Strikes Back of the Last of Us saga,
And then we
where
got
it's going to
Ellie,
be
who's
dark
grown
as
up,
fuck.
so
Oh, my God.
she's
Dude.
a
It's just,
badass character.
I mean, you even look
You
at
guys
like
are
the
gonna tell me
trailer that they
Daisy?
put out. Was it Paris Games Week?
Games Week, oh my God, the hubbub over that. Like, people are so sensitive. Oh my God, it's too violent, blah, blah, blah.
But if
I don't-
they had played the first game, they would know.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there
There's
was
context
a part
behind
towards
that,
the
yeah.
end, like when Ellie's. I think it's when you were playing as Ellie.
When Joel was hurt.
When Joel was hurt, like it gets fucking dark, man.
Yeah.
dude,
Then the left
I think
behind will
the
fuck
thing
you.
that
Yeah,
made me laugh
Left
the
Behind,
most.
emotionally is. Ugh.
I think the thing that made me laugh the most when the whole trailer for The Last of Us 2 came out, and the whole like post-apocalyptic way of things. People don't realize that But when the whole world goes to shit, and, morals goes down. Just like
they do.
They go down the wayside. I'm sorry, but I was listening to some tweets of people saying, "In the real world, women don't talk like that." I'm like, "Excuse me, bitch, who the fuck are you talking to?"
I think it was a great trailer that showed a strong and solid fight, and people just I don't know.
But yeah,
that's the game of the year.
Yeah, kind of pivoting back, rolling it back.
Nier Automata obviously didn't win game of the year, but it did soundtrack of the year. Which
I'm legitimately really excited to finally start playing it.
Zelda 1, I love the game, and I don't want to say
we're talking about the Jeff Keighley hosted Game Awards. Right?
Yes, Zelda 1, and it deserved it. I can't say it didn't.
Yeah.
I don't personally think it should have, but it won it, and it was a great game. And
it's funny. I was actually reading an article, and they were talking about the new Mario game, Super Mario Odyssey, which by all accounts is
great
just
game.
as good as Zelda. But because in a year where we had a new Zelda game, and Zelda was what came out of fucking nowhere being like one of the best games, of the last probably 5 years in a lot of people's minds.
Mm-hmm.
Mario just kind of an afterthought, which is kind of hard to believe because it's fucking Mario.
Nintendo got their shit together this year.
I attribute that.
I'm so
Yeah,
glad.
I was gonna say if you want to talk about like moment of the year, Nintendo getting their shit together.
Welcome back, Nintendo. I know you never really went
Yeah,
anywhere, but
That should have been a topic all of its own. Yeah, I think we should.
Yeah,
have
honestly, we could make a whole we could probably make a whole podcast out of that.
Just on the way that Nintendo has been just researching back into the front of when it comes to making great video games.
Oh, and
For me,
that's all we
it
ever
feels
wanted
like I'm
from
back
them.
to 1998, 1997, where N64 was finally getting its freaking game on. It just had great games over, and it's like, man, this is holy cow.
And I want to say, in 2017, thank you, Nintendo, for proving that graphics and frame rate, everything.
Don't freaking matter.
I appreciate it, because I'm getting so sick of PC gamers.
We throw them balls, man.
I love, but it's not everything, so don't fucking talk shit when I'm locked at 30 frames. I don't care. I think console games look really good. I grew up playing like a Genesis and stuff, so...
Nintendo, and I'll say this real quick, is as somebody who saw the Wii U just stumble out of the game and really get out in 2012. But I want you to make Nintendo.
I mean,
that's all I want. Nintendo to make great looking games just like that. But who would have thought that Nintendo went out of gangbusters and would have released awesome first party titles?
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild, Splatoon 2, ARMS, Xenoblade Chronicles,
Mario.
Snipper Clips, Mario.
Bayonetta games are coming.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm
games are
super
coming out
pumped
next
to
year. Like, the
play
momentum
through
is carrying into next year, which is
because I never got to play Bayonetta 2 because at the time I didn't have a Wii U.
exclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nintendo is known for taking risks, though. Like, and a lot of them haven't
they
panned
put
out.
all I would say they put all their eggs in the Switch basket, and gosh, darn, is it paid off.
I'll tell you this. I will disagree a little bit about the consoles, and depending on how much power it has. I'd rather have a console that is
I want quality games.
at 30 FPS with not the highest, top of the line things, but works well and works well every single time. What's the point of me having an Xbox X, a PS4 Pro that has every freaking time that I want to play some different bug? Oh, it's not automated for this. Oh, it crashes. Oh, you have problem with your with the way that the game works for you guys. That annoys me. So for the fact that the Switch plays well, for most of the part, yes, I know it has some problems when it comes to like the actual design where it actually can crash and stuff like that. That it's more.
Yeah, screen takers.
I agree. I mean, Nintendo proves once again that gameplay is king. And I'm not a PC gamer, right? I don't own like a big meaty rig. I don't own a rig at all. I'm a console gamer.
Mac, so that tells you.
I'm a console gamer through and through, right? I don't want to mess with AMD drivers or NVIDIA drivers. I don't want to mess around with
I don't
any.
want to buy a new game, and it takes me a week to figure out how to fucking.
Absolutely. I want to
know.
plug the box and I want to play it, and that's all I want to do.
Amen.
But gaming today is at its core, it's a visual medium, and I like pretty graphics, right? So I'm just going to throw that out there.
So
Yeah.
do
No.
But the
I mean, I'm not. Yeah, like saying,
Down
like,
the
I'm
pace, I
not
guess, you'd say.
denying it.
Have you seen Uncharted 4?
Right.
That's my point that I try to make. I get that your $3,000 gaming rig runs better than my $400 PlayStation. I would fucking hope so.
Yeah,
But
but at the same time, like Dalton says, like and I'm not. There's this phrase that my friend kind of made one time. He's like, I play games, not consoles.
Right.
You know, I want to play the best games that I can possibly play on the hardware that I own. Yep. I don't care what that hardware is. As long as I'm playing something that I'm enjoying and having a good time with, that's all all that fucking matters at the end of the day.
I like the
Xbox. Gaming is a hobby. It is my main hobby. It is one of the things that I love, but I'm not going to get all butthurt that I can't, my game doesn't run as well as yours does.
Right.
Yep. I'm grateful that I own all the consoles, right? And one of the things in lots of gaming communities is that there's a lot of tribalism, right? So there's a lot of fanboys, Sony this, Xbox that. Yep. Like when I was a kid, the reason I was a PlayStation guy wasn't because I wanted to. It was just because it was a console that I got. I was a kid. I was young. I didn't have money, to get all the consoles. So
I got my N64 for my first gaming console, and then I immediately went to the PS2 because when I got my N64, it was kind of at the tail end of that life cycle. Like I didn't even get the PS1. I jumped right to the PS2.
I had PS1.
I started off with I started off with a Game Boy.
If we're being honest, like Game Boy was before the N64.
I started off with Sonic 2 and Mortal Kombat on my Genesis.
Then I graduated over to PlayStation 1, then I had a PlayStation 2, and then the PS3 came out. I remember I got that in the winter of 06 when it launched. I remember it was like $600. My parents chipped in, and they got it for me as a present.
That's awesome.
And the only reason I remember so many of my friends during the PS2 days, they moved over to Xbox 360 simply because the PS2 was so much.
That's actually exactly what I did. Yeah.
Well, the Xbox 360 came out a year before the PlayStation 3, though.
And honestly, the PS or the 360 ran stuff better. It was kind of like the natural progression from the PS2 ,
which is weird because the PS3 was so much more powerful.
It was, but
developers couldn't
optimize it.
And the Xbox 360 was they'd say the Xbox 360 is a class of a whole bunch of B students, and then the PS3 is a class of a whole bunch of autistic kids that can get A's, but you'd have to really work hard to get those A's.
Jesus, that is the God.
They ended up at the end of that console generation ended up selling relatively the same amount of consoles, so.
It tapered in, it even down, but it was like for the most part, like it was Xbox all the way.
Oh man, you don't want me to start off on this tangent. Like as somebody who had a PS3 that entire generation, I remember PS3 before it had an in-game XMB, right? Where if you received the message, you needed to quit the game in order to enter back.
Oh God,
it was hard.
I even forgot that was a thing.
Oh God, let me put it this way.
Yeah, now that you brought that up, I'm like, shit, that really was a thing.
That was a thing back in 06.
Let me put it this way: my first console that I first got was a Nintendo Entertainment System. Was not the SNES, the NES.
The NES.
That was the first one. The NES. So, and the first game that I played and we beat was Mega Man 6. That was the first game that I played.
So you're really excited all those Mega Man remasters are coming out, right?
Hell yeah! So let me put it this way: so we went for Nintendo, the NES. Then we went to the Sega Saturn. After that, we went to the N64. From the N64, we skipped PlayStation. We went to PlayStation 2. From PlayStation 2, we got the Xbox and the GameCube, 3 at once. Then
GameCube was a great system. I don't give a shit what anybody
says.
Underrated a lot. It was a lot of very good games there that a lot of people missed out because
one of my literal favorite games of all time.
Smash Brothers for me, man.
Remember when Shinji Mikami said it would be exclusive to GameCube, and if it ever came out to another system, he'd chop his head off?
He's silent on that shit.
The gaming industry has some very unique characters in it.
Yeah. So, after we went to the GameCube and that, we got the PlayStation 3, and then we got the Xbox 360 both at the same time. Here's a fun thing about it. My Xbox 360 got the Red Ring of Death.
Everyone's did.
A year until we got it.
I owned 7 Xbox 360s because of the Red Ring.
Reach. My PlayStation 3. My PlayStation 3. They all fatty. 80 gigabytes.
Is it still running?
It's still sitting there running, and it works just as fine.
The one that played PS2 games up-resed, and everybody thought it was the shit.
Yep.
So if you think about it, that's one of the greatest systems of all time because it can still play PS3, PS2, and PS1 games.
Thank you.
Right.
It's amazing. Mine took a shit, and I had to get a slim model.
Like that's what, honestly, this is again another giant tangent. I was really bummed that the PS4 didn't have any sort of backwards compatibility. At least Microsoft. I know most of us here majority play on PS4, but I still do own an Xbox. I still like my Xbox quite a bit.
Well.
I'm going to be playing it a lot more now that PUBG comes out tomorrow. But
tomorrow, actually.
But I wish the PS4 had some sort of backwards compatibility. Even putting I would even pay for PS3 games to be sold digitally on the PS4, like they've done with PS1 and PS2 classics.
Can I just go on a quick tangent about how upset I am about Sony not offering backwards compatibility on PS4? Like,
I mean, go for
why?
it,
man. I want to give a quick shout out to Microsoft and the Xbox team because they've done a great job with backwards compatibility. I think there's over 300 Xbox 360 backward compatible titles.
Yeah, I mean, and the majority of them are
big titles.
Big titles, yeah.
PS4.
I mean,
Red Dead, Call of Duty, absolutely. Like the titles everybody wants to play.
Yeah, and I want to play Red Dead on my PS4. I've been wanting to do that for a while before the new one comes out.
Yeah, I do want to go through and play. I may not play all of Red Dead again, but I'd at least like to, kind of reacquaint myself with that franchise.
But Sony, I can understand why PS3 games don't play natively on PS4 because the architecture is just so different from Cell to the x86 architecture that they have now. Yeah, but why can't we play PS1 games? Why can't we play PS2 games? Yeah. Why are you selling me? You've proven backwards compatibility with PS2 works because I can buy them and I can play them. But why can't I play the ones that I have now? Or the ones that I bought digitally on PS3? Come on, Sony, do something about that.
Yeah, the crossplay needs to definitely be...
Look.
As market leader, they're being very active about backwards compatibility.
I'll tell you this, and I think that I can give props to... I can give props to Microsoft when it's due. Okay, the fact of the matter is that Microsoft says, "Hey, listen, we understand that when you make your in-game name on our system, your taste may change as you get older. So you can change your call sign. You can change it. We can change it for free for the first time. Then you can pay us $5-10, and you can change it again. Sony." Yeah, Sony, I made my PlayStation signing name as, Pussy Destroyer 1.5569. Can I change
or a smell of Toto?
They're saying Sony, that's coming
yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, no, you're stuck with that for the rest of your life.
Pussy Destroyer will have to stay.
It's like a bad too.
Yeah, because that Sean Layden, I think it was.
Yeah,
they touched on it.
Yeah, he mentioned something at the PSX conference this year that possibly by the end of 2018 we'll be able to change our names. So I'm actually really excited.
2018.
Because if this thing works out, if this, if our gaming group, I will 100% be okay with changing my name to JB AEG, like it is on my Twitter handle. Yeah. And I know you will immediately change yours as well, and I'm sure you guys will as well.
I'll be a part of this even when you guys back out. I'll be doing this by myself.
Fucking old man with a beard. Back in my day, we had podcasts.
Yeah. Listen to me, Shiny. Back in the olden days, we had to watch our podcast through the microphone of Microsoft. We did not have any of this,
anyway, let's
holofeels, and you can see people.
Let's dial it back, because we'll probably wrap this up here fairly shortly.
We're doing
I just want to say something real quick.
Go ahead, Goose.
I'm sorry. I just want to say something real quick regarding Keeley's Game Awards. I just want to give a quick shout out to my personal GOTY of 2017, and that's Horizon Zero Dawn.
Thank you.
I think Guerrilla Games.
Fucking amazing game, dude.
That's where
Guerrilla
I put Zelda in
Games.
third.
Yeah, Guerrilla. I'll be honest, Dalton. That's what happened with me. Horizon Zero Dawn came out February 28th. Zelda came out March 3rd, and I just
literally 3 days apart.
Yeah, and I couldn't finish it in time, and I picked up Zelda a little late. I haven't finished Zelda yet. I got about 40 hours, and I haven't finished Zelda, but Horizon Zero Dawn it grabbed.
In terms of, again, kind of harkening back to what we were talking earlier, character development, Aloy, amazingly well done character.
The game's
and there's a subtext. Yeah. There's a big subtext, which I'm a big fan of. I'm not an atheist, but Guerrilla Games questions religion in this game, just very, very subtly. They do it in the main game. They do it with the new expansion, The Frozen Wilds, where you see.
I haven't finished The Frozen Wilds yet.
I won't spoil it. I promise. It's
no, you're good.
All right. I won't go to it then, but I recommend that you play it. But I was a little upset that they sort of got snubbed. They were nominated, I think, 4 or 5 times during Keeley's Game Awards, and they didn't win a single one.
Like any other year, if Zelda hadn't come out, Horizon would have blown fucking people away.
And that's why I brought up the 30 years of fanboys. I did love Zelda. I loved it a lot. And I just think it beat out Horizon, because Horizon was my choice for Game of the Year before I played Nier. Ask Jeff. I was talking about Horizon before I played Nier.
And then he played Nier, and he's like, well, shit.
All right, guys. Before we wrap this up, I'm just going to put my game of the year.
All right, yeah,
and
go ahead.
I'm going to get a lot of flack from this. I'm going to get people telling me, what hell? But Sonic Forces. I went back to my childhood, played that Sonic Forces game. I don't care what people tell me. That game was fun as hell, man.
Sonic Forces was good, but it problem is going up against other platforms.
Yeah,
I know,
it's Odyssey. There's no way on God's green earth that will win any sort of category of game award.
I know, but the thing for me was like it felt like going back to being like 10 years old playing Sonic Hedgehog 3, and for me it was just fun as hell.
No, I can't say that. I wouldn't take away.
After all this Sonic bullshit I've been getting for the past 10 years, screw this. Finally, we got some good ass game.
Yeah. All right. Let's wrap this up.
Yeah. The last thing I wanted to talk about before we close this out, because I know White Sun and I are both involved in this. We've got our own Gran Turismo racing series.
Oh yeah, that's doing good, man. It's fun as hell.
Audio's cut out both fucking weeks now, so there's no announcing in either race.
It happens, dude.
Like,
I can hear you, but you can't hear me. But
oh Jesus!
Anyway, I just want to talk real quick. Week 1, Raikkonen won by like 40 seconds, so he took week 1 pretty convincing, actually.
Well,
and then he couldn't race this week.
Motorcade yesterday.
Motorcade on Saturday, won round 2, took the points lead. Going into round 3, obviously, and then Raikkonen will be back this week. White Sun will be back.
I still need to fucking pick up this game.
Yeah, Gran Turismo is amazing, and if you haven't played it, I love it. I'm sure there's, but I've been playing since the first one on PlayStation 1.
So I've been playing since GT3. This is the only one I have not bought like at launch.
Right, but
really, wow.
Other than 3,
our very own White Sun here is tied for I think 5th in points. So.
Don't even get me started on that stupid retarded shit, man. Got me so annoyed in that freaking race. I was doing so great. I was battling for 3rd place, and then
and then you choked.
He did. He choked.
I choked badly, man. Like really, really bad. Because it was 3 turns that I just had to do it correctly, and I would have won. At least 3rd place, 4th place. No, that was
3 turns too many.
He did all 3 turns incorrectly.
And it screwed me up. I was like, screw this. But by that point, it's like, all right. But
I just wanted to say congrats to Motorcade on winning last week.
Yeah, and we'll be doing another one this Saturday.
Yeah, we'll touch on it again next podcast, and I'm sure we'll ramble on again.
And then, as always, Thursday I'll be doing a Thursday night throwdown.
And then Saturday night shit show.
Yeah, like Saturday night shit show. I wish we could have done more with Monster Hunter, but Dalton had emergency.
I had to go help somebody, but anyway, yeah, that was...
They probably heard that fist slam on the desk.
That was a good first episode, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was going to say, I appreciate you guys being on. I definitely want to do more of these.
Absolutely. It's a lose this
Not that I want to do more of these. We are going to do more of these. We'll be back next week to record. And feel free to check us out on Twitter at AverageGaming17. I'm at JB_AEG on Twitter. At DG_AEG3, excuse me, underscore on AEG on Twitter. And what's your guys'?
My Twitter handle is at WhiteSun_AEG. AEG. Simple as that.
Mine is, hey guys, I'm Gustavo, and my Twitter is at Goose_7 spelled SE7EN.
Yes, there you go.
Goose is an asshole.
And dude, we appreciate, honestly, before we sign off on this, I just want to say thank you to Goose for joining us on this.
Yes.
It was awesome having you on here, man.
Yeah, definitely. You seem to have a really good eye for the gaming industry, and I definitely
I'm super excited
want to have you on more of these.
Yeah, definitely.
I grew up listening to Jeff Gertzman and Giant Bomb and the folks over and Comedy, and it's great to be on this.
Yeah,
so thank you guys.
You literally sound like those are all of the podcasts I listen to every single week. Game Scoop, Giant Bombcast, Kind of Funny, everything.
Shout out to Easy Allies, and Game Informer Show.
I think honestly, if I had to cast my vote, I would have Goose on as a permanent member.
We'll have to talk to Goose about that in the future. But,
absolutely.
I appreciate you coming on here.
Yeah,
dude.
thanks, buddy.
A lot of fun.
Thanks, Chris.
Great inaugural episode. But
you made our night.
Yes, but yeah, please feel free to keep following us on our YouTube channel, Average Everyday Gaming, and then on our Twitch channel, Average Everyday Gaming as well.
Yep.
On there, nice and simple, easy to remember. As long as you know the name of our channel, you know the name of our YouTube and our So
we have a pretty recognizable logo too.
yes,
so.
it's pretty sexy logo there.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
But yeah, that's it. That's going to be all, everyone.
But yeah, thanks for listening.
Thanks.
Hopefully you stuck with us this long.
Any feedback?
And yeah, please feel free to let us know how we're doing on any of the methods that we told you about. And
Thanks,
next time, take it easy, guys.
See you guys.
Enjoy. Have a good time.
Bye.